Katie Myler, thank you so much for joining us. You're joining us actually from Monrovia, Liberia, so I know the connection is probably quite difficult, so we really appreciate it. I want to get straight into my first question to you, Katie. Describe to me what you are seeing in one of the most heavily hit areas of Liberia.
I see a lot of things. Our neighbor, my neighbor right across the street has just died, a little girl. I watched a 17-year-old boy. He was fine in the morning, and then he died later on in that day. There's a lot of businesses have closed down. A lot of NGOs and international people have left, and the Ebola treatment units are completely full. And there's people dying outside of the units.
Katie, I have to ask you, what are you still doing there?
I know. I'm actually I'm afraid too, but they say courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to act in spite of it. And I think I'm more afraid of not doing everything I can to help Liberia and support Liberia in this time. I'm more afraid of turning my back now than I am of actually getting sick. I feel close to these children, and I can't just abandon them and abandon my friends and neighbors and the people around them in this time. I think they need international help more than ever right now.
The way we got in touch with you and the way that we found out about you was because of your Instagram post. How do you think that, social media has changed that conversation and, allowing people to get this message out?
I think that the pictures definitely and the stories can put pressure on on governments, other governments to help and aid. It also probably would help, people to know who's doing what, where, and how they can, and what is actually happening on the ground.
I was scrolling through your Instagram account, and I was looking at these incredible pictures that actually made me emotional just looking at them. And there was one girl that I came across that I know that you have a special bond with.
Her name is Esther. She's around 8 to 10 years old. And I was bringing medication to a doctor who's really well known in Liberia, Dr. Brown, and he has a ceremony every few days where the people who had beat Ebola, they have this big celebration and they get a certificate and they leave. And I happened to be there when that was going on, and there was a little girl there and everyone else was celebrating, and she had her face down and she was just bawling her eyes out crying. And fortunately, she beat Ebola, but her parents didn't. So everybody else had a place to go, and they knew where they would be going, and family members to take them and waiting for them. And Esther didn't have anybody to take her. So I told the Ebola treatment unit if they needed a place to keep her for the night while the Ministry of Health came to pick her up, that we would be able to house her. So we've just been bonding through this experience and just letting her know that she's not alone and that she's loved.
How are you guys taking precautions to make sure that you don't get Ebola?
Our staff have been trained by both the World Health Organization and MSF, Doctors Without Borders, on how to put on and take off PPE. I'm not going to lie, I think everyone in Liberia right now, regardless of who they are, it goes through your head. And one day I actually threw up, and I haven't thrown up in years, so you start getting afraid. And but we're taking all the precautions that we can and trying to just make sure that we're doing that and to not let fear take hold of our lives.
Katie, before I let you go, I just want to ask you one more question. How can people help in Liberia?
Yeah, I think right now the best way that people can help is find organizations that are really doing awesome things on the ground here and supporting them. And obviously, if you can learn more about what we're doing on morethanme.org, and we love your support.
Katie Myler, founder of morethanme.org, thank you so much for joining us. You really are doing incredible work, and you should be very proud of yourself.